Islam Makhachev reveals partial ligament tear in hand. Return time is questionable. Islam Makhachev might miss his desired return date options. The UFC lightweight champion is as good as any fighter on the planet. Well, that's a decent understatement. He's better than any fighter on the planet, according to most throughout the sport who consider him the pound-for-pound best. Amongst all current UFC champions, none have a longer reign than Makhachev, who's at 646 days at the time of publishing. Makhachev, 32, battled it out with perennial fan favorite and 155-pound legend Dustin Poirier in his last defense at UFC 302 last month. To tie the divisional record with 3 wins as champion, Makhachev submitted the diamond with a 5th-round brabo choke. Unfortunately, he was unable to walk away without serious injury. After the fight, my fist hurt a lot of things hurt, Makhachev told Ushateka, hat tip MMA Mania. We'll take time. Everything is healing little by little. But my hand continues to bother me. An MRI recently confirmed that I have a partial ligament tear. Let's see if I can recover. If not, I may even have to have surgery. Makhachev has managed to go his 27-fight career, 26-1, thus far without any major injuries. The timing especially sucks for the champion, as he was hopeful to make his dream of fighting in New York's Madison Square Garden a reality this November. If Makhachev doesn't end up fighting in the Big Apple, he's been linked to a possible Abu Dhabi PPV return for UFC 308 1 month earlier. That now feels even less likely after this injury update, barring any speedy recovery improvements. Well, it is questionable, Makhachev said of his timetable. We haven't talked about the fight yet. I am doing rehabilitation every day now, and we'll see how the hand goes. I really want to perform before the end of the year. I plan to too. So far I haven't even thought about not performing. But I want to come in shape, prepared, so that nothing bothers me. Before the last fight, there were also a lot of minor injuries, everything accumulated. And I want to give my body time to recover. Dana White says Muhammad Makhachev is done in UFC. PFL is going to get a great, undefeated guy. Muhammad Makhachev moved to 7-0 in the octagon with his win at UFC 304. But it appears that will serve as his final appearance in the organization. Following a decision victory over Makhachev on Saturday, Makhachev revealed that his UFC contract was completed, and he hoped to get a new deal done. He claimed his performance against Cape would likely determine his future, and that UFC executives told him they don't want to see me keep shooting and take somebody down. Following the event, UFC CEO Dana White reacted to Makhachev's comments and confirmed the 23-year-old prospect will not be offered a new contract to remain in the promotion. Yeah, that's what we tell guys. We tell guys how to fight, White said of Makhachev. We've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure one of the matchmakers probably said something to him or whatever. The matchmakers aren't big fans of his for many different reasons. There's a lot of people who shoot takedowns in this business, a lot of guys that fight with that type of style. But it's a lot more than just that. He's not under contract anymore. I think the PFL is going to get a great, undefeated guy. Good luck to him. While Makhachev may not be the most exciting fighter on the roster, White says the flyweight's problems in the UFC go far beyond his grappling-heavy style in the cage. That includes numerous incidents in the past with Cape after the fighters got into a brawl at the UFC Performance Institute, and then got into another altercation at the host hotel during Fight Week in Manchester. The latter incident exploded after Makhachev openly admitted that he told Cape they were going to take a photo together, and then sucker-punched the former risen champion before their teams intervened to pull them apart. White didn't get into specifics but said Makhachev not coming back to UFC isn't solely about any one thing, but instead a multitude of issues led to his dismissal. There was so much bad shit that happened behind the scenes with that thing. Not good, White said. Listen, the stuff that played out here over the last several months that started at the UFC Performance Institute, and other stories of this breaking out, plus many other things. These guys don't want to re-sign him. As far as the fight itself, Makhachev and Cape didn't produce many fireworks in the cage, despite a slew of security guards flooding the cage to keep the fighters separated before the action actually got started. Once the flyweights were released from their respective corners, Makhachev and Cape barely engaged, and there wasn't much action over 3 rounds. In the end, Makhachev won a decision, but that still wasn't enough to save his UFC job.